Dear viewers, I sincerely apologize for my sudden absence. Due to an unexpected health issue, I was forced to step away for almost 40 days. Let's consider it an unplanned break or a resting period between Season 1 and Season 2, which officially begins today. We're starting with the incredible story of the Mongols, the people who once terrified the world and brought a significant part of it under their control. We will tell their story honestly, just as history recorded it, without personal opinion, religious bias, or ethnic favoritism. You will hear it as we found it, and in the end, you can be the judge. Now, let's begin part 1 of this powerful tale. We hope it will be both enjoyable and insightful for you. In the vast, wind-swept steppes of Mongolia, where the sky stretches endlessly and the earth is hardened by cold and conquest, a child was born under a blood moon. His name was Temujin. His birth was marked by prophecy. A clutch of blood in his fist. A sign of war. Of destiny. He was born into a clan fractured by betrayal. His father, poisoned by enemies. His family cast out, left to starve. The wolves howled in the night, but Temujin did not cry. He learned hunger before speech, solitude before safety. In the crucible of suffering, he became steel. Temujin grew into a man not of words, but of action. He united the clans, not by birthright, but by merit. Men followed him because they feared what he would become if they did not. He abolished aristocratic privilege, raised warriors from shepherds, and rewarded loyalty above blood. His code, the Yasa, was law and legend. It cut across tribe, language, and past. In its place, a new identity was forged. The Mongol. When the Kuriltai crowned him Genghis Khan, the world did not yet tremble. But soon, it would. He began with China, the mighty Jin dynasty, bloated and blind in their stone cities. Genghis's cavalry moved like lightning, like whispers of death on the wind. Where walls stood, he built towers. Where armies waited, he flanked them by rivers, deserts, and nightmares. The siege of Zhongdu, today's Beijing, was not a battle. It was a reckoning. Siege engines taller than trees pounded the walls. Tunnels collapsed the foundations. Fire rained from the sky. When the city fell, the air reeked of ash and agony. But Genghis did not seek destruction for its own sake. He opened roads, minted coins, and invited scholars into his court. Yet always, the sword hovered nearby. Then came the Khwarezmian Empire. Genghis had sent merchants to trade, peacefully. But the Shah, arrogant and ignorant of what storm he had invited, seized them. Executed them. He sent their beards back to Genghis as insult. The reply was war. The Mongols crossed the snow-lashed mountains, through valleys cursed with cold, into the heart of Persia. City after city fell, Bokhara, Samarkand, Merv. Their names would become graveyards of memory. In Merv, the killing lasted days. The river could no longer carry water, it carried blood. Yet among the ruin, stories bloomed. One soldier spared a child hidden in a granary. That boy, nameless and alone, would live to write a chronicle of the Mongols, not as monsters, but as men. The empire Genghis Khan built did not die with him, it roared onward like an unbroken thunder across the lands of Persia, the Caucasus, and the plains of Eastern Europe. The year was heavy with dread as the Mongol riders surged into the heart of Kievan Rus. Snow fell like ash over the battered forests, muffling the drumbeats of war. The Mongol vanguard, led by Subutai, the mastermind of strategy, and Jib, the silent wolf, descended upon the Slavic territories with precision and brutality. The Battle of the Kalka River would be burned into memory for generations. Russian princes, fractured in alliance and swollen with pride, met the Mongols head-on. They believed numbers would grant them victory. But the Mongols had patience, deception, and the silence of centuries behind them. They faked retreat for days, baiting the coalition deeper into unfamiliar ground. Dust and fatigue clouded judgment. Then the trap snapped shut. Like a thunderclap, the Mongol forces encircled them. Arrows darkened the skies. Horses shrieked. Men drowned in blood and mud. Captured nobles were humiliated. The Mongols laid wooden boards upon their backs and feasted over them, a grim banquet atop suffocating bodies. It was not only execution, it was a message. Yet, even in these moments of calculated horror, a strange kind of order thrived. After each massacre, Mongol scribes recorded details, maps, and resources. They were not destroyers for the sake of it, they were architects of domination. In the heat of conquest, the romance of steel and blood clashed with the whispers of forbidden love. Talyui, the youngest son of Genghis Khan, known for his savage brilliance in battle, was once said to have loved a Persian captive, an artisan's daughter with fire in her eyes. She was to be executed with the rest, yet Talyui stayed the blade. He took her into his tent, not as a spoil, but as an equal. She painted, he listened. She sang, and he wrote her words in the margins of campaign scrolls. Their love was never blessed nor spoken openly, but it endured amid the whirlwind. She bore him a daughter who would become the first Mongol poet whose verses defied silence. When Talyui rode into Nishapur, the city that had rebelled and slaughtered Mongol envoys, he was vengeance incarnate. Blood soaked the sands for days. Some claimed more than 1 million perished. And yet, it was said that the artisan's daughter wept that night, not for the city, but for the man she could no longer recognize in the storm. After Ogedi's death, the empire was at a crossroads, its heartbeat scattered among warring sons, cousins, and ambitions. The silence of succession did not last long. Blood would speak louder. The Kurultai, the Great Council, met beneath a sky choked with dust and omen. Batu Khan, son of Joki, grandson of Genghis, returned from the west, his eyes still burning with the memories of conquest. In him lived a fury shaped by rejection, for he knew Genghis had always looked upon him with shadowed affection. Yet it was not Batu who rose to rule, but Monk, a grandson of Talyui. A quiet man with a storm beneath his calm. He saw the empire as a fractured mirror and vowed to make it whole again. It was during Monk's reign that the Mongols would unleash their fury upon the Middle East once more. The assassins of Alamut, hidden high in the Persian mountains, had dared to challenge the Khan's messengers. Monk tasked his brother Hulagu to erase them from the mountains. The march to Alamut was more than military, it was mythical. The castles clung to cliffs like the teeth of sleeping beasts. The Mongols brought siege machines dragged across rivers, across deserts, across nightmares. The battle was brutal and relentless. Flaming arrows lit up the night sky like falling stars. The final collapse of the fortress echoed like thunder through the canyons. But that was only a prelude. Baghdad, jewel of the Abbasid Caliphate, lay in the path of Hulagu's ambition. The city was not just a capital, it was a sanctuary of intellect, a labyrinth of ancient learning. It had stood for centuries, but Mongol steel knew no reverence. When the siege began, the sky over Baghdad turned to ink. Siege towers advanced like iron giants. The Tigris groaned under the weight of the fleeing and the dead. Catapults hurled boulders and disease. And when the gates fell, so did civilization. Hulagu's forces unleashed a fury that echoed through time. The House of Wisdom, with its libraries of astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, was burned to cinders. The ink of 1,000 years bled into the river. The caliph was rolled in a carpet and trampled by horses, an execution designed to avoid shedding royal blood. But his death was not clean. It was suffocation in silence, like history itself. Yet amidst all this horror, the Mongol court glittered with contradictions. In Karakoram, artisans from Persia crafted mosaics beside Chinese calligraphers. Christian monks debated Buddhist monks under the same roof. The Mongols had built a machine of destruction, but they also built roads, minted coins, and created the world's first truly global postal system. Kublai Khan, Monk's brother, would inherit this duality.